I know that ain't who I think it is.
Hey, hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Chastity. Here we talk about beauty, entertainment, celebrities, books, movies, anime, TV shows, and kind of anything else that garners my attention this week. And today we are going to talk about the return of Emo Black Thought, a person and situation I thought we left in 2019. If we're being honest, like this whole situation is something that like I had wished I was making YouTube videos for when it happened, because this was insane. This was crazy. So per my notes, we're going to start with what happened yesterday and then go back in time, because when I was looking at things, there seemed to be a lot of people who had either no idea who Emo Black Thought was or had no idea what happened. So I was on Twitter because I had already uploaded my video for yesterday, the Amante Films one. If you haven't checked it out, please do. Trigger warning for sexual assault, intimidation, and things like that. But I was waiting for that video to like upload and render to YouTube, so I'm on the Bird app, you know, trying to kiki with everybody. And I kept seeing this same like light-skinned dude, shirtless, in like a pair of short shorts over and over and over again on my timeline. And at first I really didn't pay any mind. I just thought it was just like some random trade just being, you know, like retweeted over and over again. Until I actually stopped and I read one of the quote tweets, and the person in the quote tweet was very upset and very pissed that this person was like back on Twitter. And I was like, okay, now I gotta investigate. So I clicked the tweet, the original tweet, and I see the name Isaiah Hicklin attached to it. A name I have not seen in years. A name I thought I would never see again. And I could not believe that I was seeing this person on my timeline again after everything that happened in 2019. So it's been 2 years since Isaiah has posted, you know, to social media. And with their return, I had assumed we were going to get, you know, maybe an explanation for what happened, an apology for what had happened, because they'd been gone for 2 years. So I'd assumed some form of self-reflection and evaluation should have happened during this time. You know, sitting with yourself and really fully understanding how you hurt so many other people. And so then I go and I click their profile expecting to see maybe a notes app statement, apology, a Twitter thread explaining everything that happened with Emo Black Thought. But no, nay. What I see is them thirst traps and a pin tweet to his latest single. The nerve, the audacity, the gall of this nigga. The audacity to do what Isaiah did and then dip from social media for 2 years and then come back thinking we're going to accept you with open arms, that everything's going to be copacetic, that we're excited to see him. No one is happy to see you. And the fact that you came back like nothing happened is what makes this even more disgusting. I absolutely hate when people do that. When people think if they just leave for a little bit, they don't address anything, they're gone for a year or two, and then pop back and not say nothing, they can just move on. No. You will not move on from these things. As long as there are people willing to hold you accountable for your actions, you just can't move on from shit like this. Because we never really got any resolution the first time. And we still have no resolution. Now, while I was reading through threads and going through the replies of this tweet, I had noticed that there was a decent amount of people who had no idea who Emo Black Thought was and what they did. So I felt like this would be a good video looking at it 2 years later. The whole situation, now that we have more information, we have more context to look back at this situation and kind of give like a rundown to all of you who maybe had no idea about it either. Because sometimes I forget that the whole world is not on Twitter and that Twitter is still very niche, especially back then. Twitter was getting more popular, but it still does not have the hold on people like it does right now. So there's definitely a lot of people who have no idea about this. And there's a lot of people who just don't use Twitter, period. So I felt like this video would be a great way to just kind of bridge the gap between everybody. So Emo Black Thought was an extremely popular Twitter page that had started in like 2012 until its inevitable crash and burn in 2019. Emo Black Thought, that Twitter page, really gained a really big audience by being almost a safe space for Black women to be heard and be seen. Now, up until 2019, everyone believed that the owner of the account, Emo Black Thought, was a queer Black woman. And that would subsequently not be the case in 2019 when we find out that the page was actually run by a cis queer Black man named Isaiah Hickland. Now, in 2019, Emo Black Thought had been drumming up excitement for their face reveal that was going to be happening in Paper magazine. Now, there was already a small collection of people that were very suspicious why they needed to have this fanfare for a face reveal. Something about it didn't feel right. Now, I was of the opinion that maybe they were afraid because they were ugly and they didn't want to get the harsh backlash of not being conventionally attractive. How wrong me and many other people were. Oh, you're so wrong. Another thing that was also suspicious is that in the tweets, talking about how, like, after you guys see my face, please still follow me, still believe in me. So everything about it it didn't feel right to a lot of people. Okay, so now the Paper magazine article has dropped. Everyone is in shambles because, like I said earlier, we were all under the impression that Emo Black Thought was a queer Black woman and not a cis queer Black man. So, like I said, up until that point, we were all under the impression that Emo Black Thought was a Black woman. They had spoke very heavily on not only Black women issues, but women's issues across the board. They spoke in length about periods. And at one point, the screenshots are now since deleted because that was 2019 and many Twitter accounts have come, gone, and been suspended and deleted. But at one point, Emo Black Thought had said they suffered from endometriosis. Okay? And then that created like a community around Emo Black Thought of other Black women who also suffered from endometriosis. So as you can see, there was no reason for anyone to believe, at the very least, the person behind this account had a vagina. Whether or not they identify as a woman or not, that's whatever. But we were to believe this person, at the very least, had a vagina, right? And Isaiah is a cisgendered man. Now, at the time, there had been some evidence indicating that Isaiah may not have been the original owner of the account and that the original account was maybe handed over to Isaiah from the original owner, a woman named Nicole. Now, again, a couple years ago, the tweets are gone. And even back then, we weren't even sure if Nicole was even a real person. And I still am not sure if Nicole is a real person, to be quite honest. In the beginning, Isaiah had tried to like spin the narrative to be like him pretending to be a woman was another layer of him trying to protect his identity. But people that had been following the account from the very beginning were like, no, no, no. We very actively remember a woman named Nicole being the runner of this account. Again, I'm of the opinion that Isaiah was not the original owner and it was just handed over to him. Because my brain cannot wrap around someone being demented enough to pretend to be a woman for the entire time. I don't want to believe that. Then I guess Isaiah kind of realized how wrong he was in this whole situation. And he issued, in my opinion, a bullshit apology. I'll have it right here on the screen for you to read it. It's not worth reading, but if you want to, go for it. Now, with the reveal of who Emo Black Thought truly was, another issue popped up because Emo Black Thought was a part of this group chat in 2014 with a group of other black women who at the time had the understanding that Emo Black Thought was themselves a black woman. And in that group chat, they shared a lot of personal information, a lot of connecting with each other, and then at one point, nude pictures were posted in the group chat, and the women were, hyping each other up and things like that. And not only was Emo Black Thought a part of that group chat, but they participated in the sharing of nudes, but they had shared the nudes of a different woman they were pretending to be. And as you can imagine, that led to a lot of fucking issues. Those women must have felt so violated to believe that they had created this safe space amongst each other, and that space was then violated so greatly by Emo Black Thought masquerading as a black woman. Okay, so if we're going to go with the narrative that Nicole is an actual person who originally had the account and then gave the account over to Isaiah, it is very gross and disgusting that Nicole did not divulge this information with their followers. Because again, people step down from running big Twitter accounts all the time. They always pass the torch off to somebody else. That's completely fine. But there needs to be an announcement made to know that the owners have changed. Okay, because that was the issue. Everyone was under the impression that Emo Black Thought was a woman. And a lot of people shared very, very personal information with someone who they believed to be another queer black woman. And that's a fucking problem. It is gross and it is disgusting. And the fact that Isaiah took on this account and then continued to perpetrate being a queer black woman. It's diabolical in nature when you think about it. When the face reveal happened and people found out that Emo Black Thought was really Isaiah, they were extremely hurt and betrayed. Okay? Because for a lot of young queer black women, they viewed, Emo Black Thought as a big sister. Because originally the page was an anonymous journal of a queer black woman's experience at a PWI. And the black experience at PWI is very particular, right? And only other black people that have gone to PWIs fully understand what it feels like to be there. So for people who experienced that, they felt very heard and very seen by Emo Black Thought. And then the account would later transform and talk about more women's issues, more sexual health things, that again, more of like a big sister, little sister type of vibe. And that's why people felt so betrayed. Because there was a real connection, or at least they thought a real connection between the owner of this account that made them feel so understood and so heard. Such an underrepresented group of people had someone to look up to. Another thing I have in my notes that I forgot to mention earlier is that Isaiah, Emo Black Thought, is very good friends with Lil Nas X, and they are still friends to this day, and Lil Nas X is very aware of everything that happened. And like on this account, his Isaiah account, Lil Nas X is a follower of his, and that don't sit right with my spirit. Do with that information as you will. I don't like that. I do not like that. How you can be friends with someone who did what Isaiah did. That makes me look at Lil Nas differently, because you know what? This is something I knew, but I had completely forgotten about. I really did. And I hate when that happens, when like you know something and then it goes out your head. I'm gonna sit with myself and think about this. I'm thinking about this later. Because I really don't like that they're friends. That don't sit right in my spirit. Okay, that is it. Ooh, I'm sorry. I don't know where to go from here. Because I really cannot believe that Isaiah really slinked his way back on Twitter acting like nothing happened. Like, I can believe it because that's how social media people be moving. But, like, damn, sir, you did a little too much to just come back like, hey, how's it going? Here's some cake and some really bad music. Like, what are your guys' thoughts and opinions of this? Was this the first time you've ever heard of Isaiah Hicklin, aka Emo Black Thought? Were you on Twitter and a part of the community when this happened? What were your thoughts and opinions then? What are your thoughts and opinions now, if they've changed at all? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.